Welcome to a video tutorial on how to use the Agilent AdvanceBio Gly-X N-glycan prep with InstantPC workflow. We start with preparation of N-glycanase working solution, also known as PNGase F. First, add 1.2 microliters of N-glycanase per sample to an empty Eppendorf tube. For example, if you are processing 8 samples, transfer 9.6 microliters of enzyme. Make sure to change the pipette tip between each transfer step. Second, add 1.2 microliters of digestion buffer per sample to the same Eppendorf tube. Return N-glycanase and digestion buffer to 4 degrees Celsius for storage. Next step is the preparation of the InstantPC dye solution. After InstantPC dye and InstantPC dye solvent have warmed to room temperature, add 150 microliters of InstantPC dye solvent to the InstantPC dye and vortex until dissolved. Return dye solvent to -20 degrees Celsius for storage. Next, preparation of the load wash solution. Add 6 milliliters of formic acid to a glass graduated cylinder. Bring the volume up to 240 milliliters with 100% acetonitrile. Transfer load wash solution to a glass storage vessel. Cap tightly and swirl to mix. Now, begin the Gly-X deglycosylation process. Add 2 microliters of Gly-X denaturant to the bottom of each well being used of the Gly-X deglycosylation plate. Make sure to change the pipette tip between each transfer step. Add 20 microliters of glycoprotein sample to the well. Mix well using the pipette tip by pipetting up and down. Tap plate on the bench top to collect samples on the bottom of wells. Place the Gly-X deglycosylation plate on the heater and incubate uncovered at 90 degrees Celsius for 3 minutes. This is the glycoprotein denaturation step. Denaturation allows for exposure of N-linked glycans on the protein. Place the deglycosylation plate on the bench top at room temperature for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, add 2 microliters of N-glycanase working solution to the denatured sample. Mix well using the pipette to pipette up and down. Tap plate on the bench top to collect samples on the bottom of the wells. Place the deglycosylation plate on the heater and incubate uncovered at 50 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes. During this time, the N-glycanase enzyme added in the previous step will efficiently cleave exposed N-linked glycans from the denatured glycoprotein. The next step is the InstantPC labeling of released N-glycans. Remove deglycosylation plate from the heat block. Add 5 microliters of InstantPC dye solution to each sample well. Mix well using the pipette to pipette up and down. Tap plate on the bench top to collect samples on the bottom of the wells. Place the deglycosylation plate on the heater and incubate uncovered at 50 degrees Celsius for 1 minute. During this time, the InstantPC dye will label the glycosylamine of the released N-linked glycan. Return the remaining InstantPC dye solution to -20 degrees Celsius. Now, the next step is the InstantPC cleanup step. Remove deglycosylation plate from the heat block. Prepare the vacuum manifold and Gly-X cleanup plate. Carefully remove white caps from the cleanup plate. Install waste tray in the vacuum manifold. Place the Gly-X cleanup plate on top of the vacuum manifold assembly. Add 400 microliters of load wash solution to the wells of the cleanup plate that will be used. If many samples are being processed, a multi-channel pipette may be used. Add 150 microliters of load wash solution to the deglycosylated sample in the deglycosylation plate. Mix well using the pipette to pipette up and down. Transfer the entire sample, approximately 172 microliters, from the deglycosylation plate to the corresponding wells of the cleanup plate. Mix well using the pipette to pipette up and down. Repeat steps until all samples have been transferred to the cleanup plate. Apply vacuum using a pump to draw the liquid through the well into the waste plate. Add 600 microliters of the load wash solution to each well. Apply vacuum again. Let the solution pass through. At this point, excess dye will be washed away, while InstantPC labeled glycans remain on the membrane. Repeat these 2 steps 2 more times for a total number of 3 washes with the load wash solution. Remove Gly-X cleanup plate from manifold and temporarily place on storage plate. Install the Gly-X vacuum manifold spacer and PCR collection plate. Place Gly-X cleanup plate back on top of the manifold. Add 100 microliters of Gly-X InstantPC eluent to each active well of the cleanup plate. Apply vacuum to collect samples in the PCR collection plate. At this point, InstantPC labeled glycans retained in the matrix will be eluted and collected in the collection plate. Remove the cleanup plate and take out the PCR collection plate. InstantPC labeled samples are now ready for analysis. Mix each sample prior to analysis. Finally, analysis of InstantPC labeled glycans. After sealing the plate with appropriate foil, place the collection plate inside the multi-sampler. Run UHPLC Hillock analysis of InstantPC labeled glycans. This sample prep can be completed in around an hour. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Please contact Agilent if you have any questions.